In The Dog Stars, you find Hig in this sort of post-apocalyptic scenario. The world has ended, and he's living kind of quietly on this abandoned airfield with this ex-Marine called Bangley, and they're pretty much just surviving. It's very quiet and domestic and mundane, and Hig has this kind of feeling inside of him that there's something else out there, that the world hasn't really ended. Ridley's a pioneer of cinema, and you know, I would argue that he's on everyone's list of cinematic heroes. So as soon as he sent through the screenplay, I said, "Yeah, I'll work with you in a heartbeat." And the draw was entirely Ridley Scott. Josh is one of my kind of fundamental heroes. He's one of the great actors, and he plays Bangley, who is this kind of curmudgeon, this kind of ex-Marine who's pretty disgruntled and straight down the line. He really made this movie what it was for me, the experience. He, you know, I was shooting in Italy in the Dolomites, sitting in an airplane hangar, just chopping up with him, hearing his stories, and he's an incredible storyteller, and his lived experience is, you know, so unique. I'm really, really grateful that I got to work with Josh. One thing that was really special, I think, was the way that Ridley shot the landscape and the nature, and like, especially when the plane is flying, that's all real. You know, there was a helicopter behind the plane that was, you know, getting all those shots. There's not a great amount of CG in those shots, and I think to see this giant camera, you know, rigged up to a helicopter and watching it jump around the Cessna was so impressive. And I think shooting practically is the most important thing that you can do. Just as an actor, it makes everything so much easier when you're looking around you and you're being swallowed by these giant mountains, and you can feel the climate and the dryness or the heat or the cold, and it makes for a more tangible experience, which I think helps all of us when we're working, but it also helps the audience believe the film more when they see it in cinemas. When you can tell that the mountain is real, it makes a massive difference.